What's up, guys? Alright, so today we're gonna take a look at the Speedmaster again. I feel that this is one of those watches, at least for me. I didn't really have a strong feeling about it, particularly towards Omega or the Omega Speedmaster. I think it's one of those watches that you really have to experience it in person in order to really appreciate how well designed it is and how good it looks in person, in real life. And the fact that I thought that, you know, all the Speedmasters more or less look the same over the years, decades. That it was kind of monotone, it was kind of boring, but in fact, now I come to appreciate the sort of heritage and particularly with this one, the improvements that it's been made by Omega. Let's start with the side profile. I think it's got so many layers to it. Is it focused? It's got so many layers to it. Here on the top we have the sapphire crystal. It's got that box crystal. It's slightly domed, as you can tell by the profile. So it's not flat. And then you have that flare out bezel with a kind of synced in aluminum insert, kind of like a bowl. And then you have that really nice sweeping polished top of the lug and the case that kind of flares out a little bit. It starts out kind of narrow and then goes out. So it has a very three-dimensional feel with all these different elements. You can see the sharp beveling with contrasting the soft edge of the crystal. The new bracelet with the president style links. It has that vintage look that really complements the watch, but at the same time it doesn't look outdated at all, and it's also really comfortable. So on this side, without the pushers and the crown, you really get to see. And by the way, I've been wearing this watch for 3 weeks non-stop. I mean, I've taken it off for a couple hours. Sometimes when I go to the shower, or if I go out to drink with the boys, I'll leave it at home. But no, I don't see any scratches in the 3 weeks that I've had it. Not a single one. I don't know. Maybe I've just been really careful with it. I don't know if it's anything to do with the material. So on this side you can see the full uninterrupted view of the side profile. Just really nice. So this is the sapphire version. Obviously with the Hesalite it'll look a little bit different, particularly with the bracelet. Their intermediate links would be fully polished, fully brushed, and a more noticeable dome to the Hesalite. And also, again, with the clasp, usually the first place where I get the scratches is the clasp, but I don't see anything, not to the casual glance. 3 weeks, not a single scratch. I'm sure I bump into things here and there. And the crystal, the dial face, particularly with the dial, I always thought the Omega Speedmaster, yeah, kind of boring, kind of, it's a black dial, even though they have special editions with brown dials, white dials, blue accents, all that, orange accents. So this is the OG professional, so it more or less mirrors the 60s Speedmaster, and to the uninitiated, it'll probably look identical. Is really the devil's in the details. Like I said in the previous video, if Rolex made the Daytona the same way today as it did in the 60s, 70s, the late 60s, early 70s, I think people will go crazy, with all the modern touches, the modern updates, but the same overall design. Yeah, it would be nuts. I guess kind of like a Submariner, the Rolex Submariner. It hasn't really changed all that much. Again, to the uninitiated, you really have to look into the details with the new Speedmaster 3861, which references the movement, the coaxial. Let me remove it. The manual wound coaxial escapement. This is my first and only manual wound chronograph. Actually, that's a lie. I had the Seagull manual chronograph as well, but that one wasn't really accurate. The timing was really terrible. It wasn't very accurate. It was a manual wind, but the watch quality in itself was really poor. This one, so far, 3 weeks, I've measured it pretty much every day. It's about 1.5 seconds early per day, and I give it like 15-20 winds of the crown in the morning and in the evening each. And yeah, 1.5 seconds, maybe less, 1.2 seconds per day, which is one of the most accurate movements I've had. The Rolex Submariner was also very accurate. I think well within a second a day as well, maybe even less than that, maybe half a second a day. And the pushers feel really nice, really smooth. And there's a very positive click. And you stop it and the reset. Yeah, no complaints at all. And you can see that there's just that character to the Speedmaster that you can only appreciate when it's right in front of you. And one of the reasons I got the sapphire version is because of the open caseback, so I can really look at the movement. Visually, it's probably not that not that far off from the 1861. But if you're like me, I really want a watch that's as accurate as possible. So with the new Meta certification, it makes a big difference. And I have like a 6.5-inch wrist, and you can see the lugs are well within the edge of my wrist. Even though this is probably the biggest watch I will wear at 42 millimeters, I probably wouldn't go much more than that. I would probably prefer that it is 40 millimeters. And I usually wear on my left arm, but with the camera angle, I can't. It would be really awkward on my left arm. But so as a wrist jot, the compulsory wrist jot, you can see that most of the watch is brush finished, but there are some polish accents, particularly on the bevels and the intermediate links, that really gives it a pop of like a flash, especially because the dial is matte and kind of textured if you look closely. Sorry, it's not a macro lens, so it doesn't have that bling factor. If the dial was polished, it would be a lot shinier. I think with the narrowing bracelet, it adds that touch of contemporary design that was really missing in the clasp as well. I wasn't sure about the striping, but again, like once you have it in your hands and you're wearing it, all of these reservations pretty much goes out the door, because everything just fits so well, goes really well together, and it's kind of very understated when I'm outside and I'm wearing it. No one really notices, which is kind of how I like it. And if I have to get rid of all my watches and just keep one, which is kind of what I'm doing, just a few watches, this is definitely something at the top two that I would keep, between this and the sub, my Rolex Submariner, because I really come to appreciate really a dateless watch. I don't have to worry about when I can set the time, because when you have the date function, you cannot really do any adjustments between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. But with a time only watch, you don't really have to worry about that. So yeah, as a contender, as a watch that I would really just keep forever, this is definitely one of them. And before I got it, I wasn't really sure what the hype is all about, but now that I have it, I think I understand. And definitely I think if you're thinking about an Omega Speedmaster, there's really no better time to get one, since the update to the watch, and you could get a pretty good discount on it as well currently. So yeah, really appreciate you watching, and hopefully you get a good visual of what the watch is like in person. And really thank you for watching, and hopefully you all like the video and subscribe, and yeah, as I get more watches, I'll continue to share with you. One of the watches that I got recently, but I didn't really film it, is the Tudor Black Bay 925, the sterling silver. I got it at the authorized dealer. I wore it for a week or two, and I sold it. I didn't really have a chance to film it before I sold it because it's a sterling silver. I was scratching it up really bad. I wasn't sure if I wanted a precious metal watch. I didn't want to spend $30,000-$40,000 on a gold one. I thought sterling silver would be something that would be into, but it it got banged up pretty bad. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do a video on that. But I have my eyes on some Tudor watches. I'm not really sure if I could get them anytime soon, but yeah, drop me a comment to let me know if you have any suggestions on my next watch. All these watches that I review are my own, so I don't have any bias against it. I don't have to say anything that I don't feel is genuine. Anyway, enough babbling. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.